I'm Rantasmo, and drag movies need more gay. As far back as the days of Elizabethan theater, there have been men who have dressed as women for the sake of comedic or dramatic performance. Though in those days that was because women weren't allowed to act because it would offend their delicate sensibilities or something. Times have changed, but even though men don't have to perform dressed as women anymore, I guess old habits just die hard. There's sort of a wide spectrum when it comes to movies that feature male cross-dressing as a central element. On one end you've got your more straight-oriented mainstream comedy that uses a female disguise purely for the sake of humor. Because as we all know perfectly well, whenever a man dresses like a lady, it is always instantly f***ing hilarious. The straight male lead in this sort of movie is usually forced to dress up in disguise for some wildly implausible reason. Either he's an undercover cop, or he's posing as a nanny in order to spend time with his kids, or he's an undercover cop again. Once in a while you see a character who is actually supposed to be female. Have you noticed there's been a lot of these movies recently that star black comedians? Big Mama's House, White Chicks, Norbit, everything Tyler Perry's ever done, Juwanna Mann, Big Mama's House 2, Big Mama's House 3 Rise of the Machines. But you can't mention this genre without mentioning 1959's Some Like It Hot. Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon witnessed the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, so they do really the only rational thing and join the 50s equivalent of the Spice Girls, led by Marilyn Monroe. In addition to being perhaps the first major example of this sort of movie, Some Like It Hot is often considered to be the greatest American comedy film ever, and has a pretty solid gay following. On the other end of the cross-dressing spectrum, you've got films that feature drag as a more in-depth exploration of gender and sexual identity, or as a representation of the actual drag community. I suppose this technically includes Tu Wong Fu, which is about drag queens who get stranded in what must be the least perceptive town in America.
Oh, baby. You are a whole lot of woman.
Yeah, that is definitely Wesley Snipes. But a slightly earlier, and I think overall better example, is The Adventures of Priscilla, which is that other drag queen road trip movie. I really like this one. It's got gorgeous visuals, an awesome soundtrack, and really great gay portrayals from actors you totally wouldn't expect. Check it out, that's Guy Pearce and freaking Hugo Weaving. God, he's wearing a dress, but all I can think is Mr. Anderson. Plus, this is one of very few movies with a transgender main character, and it really helped introduce drag culture into mainstream entertainment. Party Monster is probably one of the darkest entries in this particular genre. Betrayal, drugs, murder, there's so much ugly subject matter here that it makes the campy outfits look elegant by comparison. Maybe this one doesn't even count, actually. I mean, most of these dudes aren't dressed up as women so much as trolls and steak. This movie didn't do very well commercially or critically, and maybe it's just me, but quite frankly, I place the blame entirely on Macaulay Culkin.
Will there be anything to drink with that?
How about one of your thick and creamy milkshakes?
Fresh out. Hedwig and the Angry Inch is an interesting example, in that the main character is actually dealing with issues of gender identity. Hedwig's not really a drag queen, but she's not necessarily transgendered either. It really seems to push the idea that gender and sexuality labels are ultimately unimportant, and also the idea that every role that Michael Pitt ever plays makes me want to punch him in the face. It's also one of the few movies in either category that actually stars a gay actor, which I think maybe suggests some sort of gay glass ceiling more so than the idea that straight guys just love wearing silly wigs. But just what is the appeal of these movies anyway, and why do we see so many of them? Is it just the theatricality of it all? Maybe it has nothing to do with shattering the boundaries of gender or laughing in the face of societal norms. Maybe we just appreciate good costuming, and whether it's a disguise or an expression of your inner self, I think there's just something courageously playful about the whole thing. In any case, like it or not, I think we have much more gender bending to look forward to in the years to come. Like White Chicks 2. No, seriously. That one's not even a joke. They're actually making White Chicks 2. It's real. This is happening.